What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another episode of the Dossier, the Marvel Crisis Protocol show, where we talk about all things Crisis Protocol character related, from their sculpts to their cards to what they bring to the table and our overall general opinions of some of these characters. Remember, this is not an in-depth review show. It is just meant to sort of get the discussion going, get you thinking about some characters, and maybe encourage you to go check out a couple interesting characters that you might not have paid much attention to in the past, or even just learn a little bit more about them. And of course, these shows can't happen without all the wonderful support of the patrons over at patreon.com/AegisBrand Studios. A couple bucks a month just helps everything happen on this one, gives me the resources to continue upgrading equipment and keeping the content current and relevant. So thank you much to all the patrons over there. In this particular episode, we are talking about Mystique, Raven Darkholme for Crisis Protocol. And so starting off, let's take a look at her model. So as you can see here, got the busted silencer, which is a pretty common thing from what I understand. A lot of people have that busted silencer. The model itself is very, very simple, very basic. There's not a whole lot going on here. One of the more simpler palettes as well, the red hair, the white cloak, the blue skin. It does, however, offer a lot of interesting possibilities for doing some cool stuff paint-wise. There's a lot of really cool paint jobs out there where people have sort of done like the mid-transition type thing where she's transforming between a different form and this one. I obviously went with the very standard blue Mystique here. It was kind of fun to paint blue skin. It's not something you get to do very often, unless you're like intending to do so. Otherwise, the details are pretty good. I like that there's some good folds in the cloth itself. It just gives a little bit of texture. It gives something for the paint to actually pick up and play around with. White can always be a bit of a challenge to have it get depth and have it basically look solid. The pose itself, very simple. Not a whole lot to talk about. Very simple to assemble as well. We've seen a couple of these sort of like busted up Xavier Institute signs. There's not really a whole lot to say about the model. I think she's a very simple model, a little boring on one hand, but I mean it kind of fits what the model does and the nature of it. So what about her card? What is there that we can? I'm just going to leave my hand here because that's actually a better contrast. What does she actually bring to the table for us? Well, so you look over her stat line. She's got 5 stamina. She's a long mover. She is size 2, 3 threat with 3s across the board for her defenses, and that is the same on both sides there. Nothing changes on the injured side. Her basic attack is a range 3 4-dice physical attack pistol. It is a gainer attack, and it has a hit result rapid fire. So really solid. Those 4-dice attacks you got to watch out for. While they're not great at building power when they're builders, they can really sneak through and do quite a bit of damage to you. And at 4 dice, you don't always see defensive tech used for it because it's not always worth it. So very standard, very solid attack. Next up, she has Espionage, a physical attack, range 2, 6 dice for 3 power. Before damage is dealt, the target gains the stun special condition. Very important to note that it is before damage is dealt that the stun condition goes on there, so if you happen to spike hard, you can deny them a whole lot of damage. This is one of the few instances of getting that stun before damage. Always really nice to see that. I think Psylocke is another one, and there's one other character, I just don't remember who it is. But I really like the stun before damage. I just think it's a really solid way of kind of trying to control and deny your opponent their resources. She also brings a leadership to the mix. For Brotherhood of Mutants, she brings the Freedom Force. Once per turn, after an allied character interacts with an extract objective, after all effects are resolved, the allied character gains 1 power. So this means you can go up, you can interact with an extract objective, and get that power refunded. That is it, and boiled down to a very simple thing there. It is quite nice. It gives some really nice early game plays. Can start getting that power build up pretty quickly as a result. In addition, allied characters have the following interactability. You can interact with a secure objective token. Place a token on the objective token. While this token is in play, you're securing the objective. The token is removed if an enemy character contests the objective token, and you can only have one of these at a time as a result of this leadership ability. So it's a great way of being able to sort of secure a back point and move off it, knowing you're still going to secure it. So you can kind of build up some early objective points and try to get that lead and hold on to it as you go through the game. And there's a lot of really cool plays with Mystique and Freedom Force as a result. Next up, she has an active ability, Expert Sabotage for 3 power. It is an action. Choose an interactive terrain feature size 3 or less within 4 of this character. Enemy characters within 1 of the terrain features suffer 2 damage. The terrain feature is destroyed and removed from the battlefield. This superpower can only be used once per turn. I love this ability. I mean, we have this ability on Punisher as well. My only complaint about it is that it is an action, but it is guaranteed 2 damage. If you can get a couple characters around a single piece of terrain and really take advantage of that ability, you can really put out a whole bunch of unanswered damage, which can sometimes be crippling for a team. And it's a great way of plinking off those last couple points of damage, because the only thing that can stop it is if somebody has damage reduction to enemy effects. She has Martial Artist as an innate ability. So when defending against physical or energy attacks from within range 2, you can add blanks to your defense rolls. Well, let's get it refocused here. So really solid, especially when combined with the fact that she has stealth. So there's a very narrow window to attack her where you're getting access to, or where you're denying her that defensive tech. She also has Shapeshifter, and this is probably one of her best abilities right here. During this character's activation, enemy characters cannot use reactive superpowers or reactive team cards. This shuts off so much tech. Things like Exceptional Healing or Deal with the Devil, Age of Ultron, or even in a lot of cases like reactive damage reduction, reroll powers. There is so much stuff that this will shut off. You basically, she's not dealing or throwing a whole lot of dice, but the fact that she can turn off a lot of the stuff that keeps characters alive and durable is insanely good. Also, like things like mission objective, like you can shut off those cards. The big one I really like actually is you shut off the got your back mechanics, where people can get like free beats in on you. So very powerful ability, and honestly, it's probably one of her best things. That's her character card. However, she also comes with Deception. And I'm going to slide that onto the screen here for you. Deception is probably one of the most powerful cards in the game. It recently got onto the restricted list because of how powerful it was. It is an unaffiliated active card. Mystique may play this card. There is no power cost attached to this whatsoever. Choose an enemy character within 4 of this character. If there are no other non-dazed enemy characters within 2 of the chosen character, you may advance the chosen character's speed towards this character. So what exactly does that mean? Well, you can pull people out of place, out of position so easily with Deception. It doesn't cost anything. It's got great range, and it's a great way of isolating a member of the opposing team to a point where you can really target and focus them down. This is especially true in scenarios where they might have an objective or even isolate a leader or something like that. Very powerful card. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets reworked or rewarded a little bit in the future instead of just restricted. Hard to really say what's going to happen in the meantime, but she brings a very powerful tactic card to the table, and she's very easy to splash at 3 threat. So where does that leave Mystique in general? Well, she used to be before Deception got restricted, she was a very easy splash into so many affiliations. She can still do that, but now that she takes a restricted card slot as well, she doesn't quite get that same splash treatment, simply because, it eats up a sacrifice or a patch up or a brace or something like that. So she's still very powerful. She still has a lot of play in her with her card and Deception. She can really help almost any team kind of get a little bit more efficiency into their game plan. She's a great way of just sort of like cleaning up a couple characters who might be low on health. And she's deceptively hard to take down between stealth and martial artist. It doesn't seem like she has a whole lot going on with her defensive stats, but those 2 abilities really make it tricky for her to go down. Combine that with a long movement, and she can get almost anywhere on the table that she needs to be. So obviously she loves Freedom Force. I've played around with her a little bit in both Weapon X and Shieldless. I've seen some other people play her in some X-Force, X-Men. Like she really does have a lot of play in a lot of affiliations. And I think if you're looking for a piece that can kind of really disrupt the opposing player's plans, this is a great one to take a look at. So I highly encourage you to take a look at Mystique, see where maybe she fits into your roster, and see if she can maybe bring a little bit more to the table for you. So that is her. Leave your comments below. Get involved in the conversation. Let me know what you think about Mystique yourself. And of course, if you want to support the channel, hit up patreon.com/AegisBrandStudios. Just a couple bucks a month keeps everything going, and I thank you so much for that. In the meantime, keep watching. Happy wargaming.